Hi, I'm Tony Hardy, founder and director of Canny Creative, a branding, web design and content creation agency based out of Blythe in sunny Northumberland. And welcome to Building Better Brands. In today's episode, we're talking about brand guidelines. Some people call these brand identity guides, a brand book, a brand manual. It's all the same. It's a PDF document that you can hand over to someone to get a thorough understanding of your brand and your business. Where a lot of businesses go wrong here though, is they only include the identity itself, when really a good comprehensive set of brand guidelines should also include things like your brand strategy, your vision, your mission statements, and all sorts of things like that. So why are brand guidelines important for your business? Now, whether you like it or not, you're possibly not always going to be working with your chosen branding agency. Obviously, that is the ideal and preferred route. However, let's say you're running a TV campaign or buying some print advertising. There might be a quick turnaround time. You might need to just hand over a document and say, okay, this is how our brand looks. Please follow these guidelines and you'll create an advert that works and looks like part of our brand identity. Perhaps you've even fell out with your branding agency. The identity and the logic that they came up with behind the brand is still in good stead, but you're actually moving away from them now and you need to take this identity to another company to work with, and that's when the identity guidelines will come into play. By giving it's essentially the ultimate playbook to your business and your brand that anyone can pick up, look at, read through and understand every single thing there is to know about your strategy and your identity. So who should create brand identity guidelines for your business? Naturally, the agency involved in working with you to create your identity or rebrand your business should be handing over the complete set of guidelines at the end of the project. So in the proposal stage, make sure that the line item brand identity guidelines is there, that they've listed out what they'll include in there, because at the end of that process, you want something that they hand over and say, this is exactly how our business looks and functions moving forward. But what should be included in brand guidelines? Just like anything in the branding and design world, you could go for a simplified approach or something more comprehensive. If you're a small business or a startup, you can probably get away with something a little bit lighter than if you're a massive corporation with lots and lots of moving parts. Essentially, what goes in there is up to you and the type of business that you are, but let's have a look and break down some of the key elements that should be in your brand identity guidelines. The first thing that we think should be in there is your brand strategy, your tone of voice, your messaging, and your brand mission. Without that, you kind of don't really have a foundation for the identity, and it's important that people understand what it is that your business is all about at the core level. Logo design. You've got a shiny new logo, so you need to make sure it's in your brand guidelines. And on top of that, make sure you've got plenty of logo variations in there. You want a full color logo, a mono logo, a vertical lockup and a horizontal lockup, and also any other kind of isolated elements, maybe just the type on its own, the icon itself on its own. Make sure all of that is put into the guidelines. Logo spacing. It's important that not only do you include the logos, but you need to also put in the space that your logo should sit in, how far it should be from the right, left, top and bottom edges of paper to avoid the designs looking cluttered and overcrowded. Brand typography. What is the font family and the typeface that you use for your brand? What do you use for headlines, subheadlines and body copy? Make sure they all go in so people know where to get the fonts from and exactly how to use them. Brand colors. It's important that you have both RGB and CMYK values of your brand colors in your guideline. RGB is used for colors on the web, CMYK is used for printing. Also, you want to include any Pantones or spot color references within your guidelines. Brand imagery. Are you using photos? Are you using collage? Are you using video? Imagery is super important and should form a key part of your visual guidelines. You don't want people using horrible stock photos of women with headsets when really you're all about illustration or cool, quirky little animations. Brand imagery plays a key role in your brand guidelines. Stationery design. Not only should you include colours and type, you should also include mock-ups for business cards, letterheads, and any other simple, straightforward print materials that your brand might require in the future. And finally, a website style guide. You shouldn't just assume in this day and age. In fact, you should never assume that a brand is only going to be seen offline. 99.999% recurring of brands are going to be seen online. As such, at Canny, we've started including website style guides into our brand guideline. And what we do there is you put in the fonts, the sizes, the colours, subtle background colours. It's the same sort of things that go through the rest of the identity guide, but specifically with your website in mind. At the end of the day, your brand guidelines are the complete guide to your business, from the strategy to the identity and to your website. You need to make sure that your brand guidelines can be handed over to anyone and they'll understand everything about your business. And that's it. If you've enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you again on Building Better Brands.